Okay, we're up to Siman Shin Lamed Vav Sif Yud Beis. Now, the Mechaber is dealing with fruit on a tree that dried up. So the question is, do we say that because the fruit is dry, you could pluck it off the tree? Or do you say, it's still on the tree, so it's considered Mechuber l'tree? So before we even do this, the Biur Halacha says, Da, you should know, Yesh plukta ben ha-poskim, is a machlokes rishonim. Yesh oimrim, da afilu yavshu ha-peris hein va-oktsehen, the opinion, this is the opinion of the Rambam and other poskim. According to the Rambam, even if the fruit is completely dry when it's on the tree, it's chayiv. Mamish chayiv for plucking it off the tree. V'harbe poskim sfir lahu, but many poskim, and this is Rashi and Tosfos and the Rashba, the loy mechayiv rak biyavshu haperes vuktzei and adayin lach. They say no, it's only chayiv if the stem is still moist, but if the fruit and the stem is dry, it's takana chayiv. So it's machlokes rishonim. Zak the Mechaber says te'enim sheyavshu be'ivehen, v'chein ilan sheyavshu peroisav boy, hatelish men b'shabbos chayiv. The Mechaber says that if you have a fruit that's on the tree, even if the fruit is dry, if you pluck it off the tree, you're chayiv. Even though when it comes to tumah, it would be considered separate from the tree, meaning the laws of tumah are that when the item is on the tree but dry, you could pluck. It's not considered mechuber, but when it comes to the laws of Shabbos, it's considered mechuber. Okay, let's go weiter. The Mechaber writes in Yud Gimel, Osir lehishtamish b'tzdodei ilon, aval b'tzdodei tzdodin mutter. You're not allowed to use the sides of a tree, but the side of a side is mutter. So tzadeh is aser, tzadeh is mutter. So what's tzadeh and what's tzadeh? So the Mishnah Berurah clarifies. Pirish, davar hatachuv kosher be'ilan mikrit tzadeh ilan. Something that's attached to the tree is considered tzadeh ilan. That's aser. V'tzadeh hu davar hanishim b'davar tachuv be'ilan. It's something leaning on the thing that's attached to the tree. Okay, and the Mechaber will clarify the exact details. The Mechaber says, "Lefikach aser lismei hasulam l'tzadei ha'ilon." Taking a ladder and leaning it on the tree, then the ladder is now considered tzadim. Can't use it. T'chisalik la mishtarish b'tzadim. Avim yesh yated tegua b'tzadei ha'ilon mutar lismei hasulam alav. But if you have a peg in the tree, so the peg is the tzadim, you lean the ladder on the peg. So then the ladder is now tzadin, and therefore it's mutter. So it's negay like a hammock. So you can't put something on the tree, that's a problem. Put something connected to something on the tree, then it's allowed. So Zak the Mechaber, Dahavel yated stadin mitzulam tzadin. Vimnods by yated v'toila by kalkula. Let's say you put a peg on the tree and you hang a kalkula, a basket off the peg. Hayated nikrit stadin, v'kalkula tzidei stadin. So the basket is allowed because the basket is the tzidei stadin. Because there's the tree to the peg to the basket. It's 2 steps removed. Umuta liga be'ilan. I'm sorry. Before we go back there, all of this is happening before Shabbos. You can't do any of this on Shabbos. The Mishnah Berurah clarifies that this basket that's hanging on the peg, that's hanging on the tree, you can't hang the basket on Shabbos. But once the basket is hung before Shabbos, you can put stuff in the basket and take it out. But if the basket was directly on the tree, then it would be a problem. So it's the same thing with a hammock. If you put in a peg, then hang from the peg a bed, you could lie in the hammock. But if the hammock is directly tied to the tree, then it's a problem. Stadim. Correct. You can't take the basket off. That's what Mishnah Berurah says. You can't hang the basket or take the basket off on Shabbos. That's going to be a problem. Mishnah Berurah also makes one more point. When you take off the basket, the entire tree shakes, then it's a problem because then it's considered as if you're using the tree itself, even though there is a peg in between, but it has to be that the peg and the tree are so strong. So if let's say the hammock, if I were to get on the hammock and the tree would sway, then that would be a problem. That's what Mishnah Berurah says, in Piyach Kakol Tsar, the Kshanaitel Chayvetz Min Hakol Meinid Ilan, also Cholinit, Sheidei Ze Mishtamish Be'ilan. Ulishan be'ilan. Now, when it comes to leaning on the tree, im ha'adam bari mutter, v'tosh kayach aser. If you're healthy, you can lean on a tree, but if you're weak, you can't. V'atam da'adam bari inisayim chalav elamat. When you're healthy, you don't really put all your weight on the tree. Aval tosh kayach yitzarch lisma b'chol kayach alav mikra mishamish m'chuber. Okay, but again, so when it comes to leaning my body on the tree, if I actually move the tree itself, it's a problem. Let's say the tree won't move. So if I'm a healthy person, then you're not really putting most of your weight on it. You're putting a little bit, then it's fine. But putting all your weight on it is going to be a problem. Let's just finish up the Ramah. The Ramah says, "Mutar liga be'ilan." You're allowed to touch a tree, as long as you don't shake the tree. Bar amo kafila mea amo mutar lered valalois. If you have a pit that's even 100 amma deep, you can go down and come up. Umitapis v'yor mitapis v'oila. V'lichashin shem yakar karka b'yidas v'yilas. And we're not concerned that as you're going down the pit, you'll grab some dirt off and dislodge some of the clogs of dirt. We're not concerned about that.